Welcome back to Game Talk 24/7. I'm your host, Josh Cunningham. Before we get to the video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and like the video. It really means a lot. It really helps out the channel, and I appreciate it more than you know. Also, don't be afraid to comment down below. Without further ado, let's talk sports. Hey guys, welcome back to Game Talk 24/7. Today is Friday, November 21st, the week before Thanksgiving. Today we got a little bit of a different video for you guys. Today we're going to be doing a how to make game picks and predictions. We're only going to look at one game today, and we're going to be using past games, like the past couple of games, this past couple of weeks, and some stats to make those picks and predictions. So without further ado, let's dive into the only game we're going to talk about today. So we got USC at Oregon. According to ESPN's match predictor, Oregon has a 71.9% chance of winning. USC has a 28.1% chance of winning. Oregon is favored by 10.5 points to win, between 8.5 and 10.5. That's the spread, right? That's the spread I've been seeing right now. So the first question is, can USC cover the spread? Not can they win, can they cover the spread? So let's look at the games the last 2 weeks. Let's just look at the common opponent they had. They both played Iowa in the last 2 weeks. Oregon played Iowa 2 weeks ago. USC played Iowa last week. Now, Iowa went to USC. Oregon went to Iowa. And so you have a scenario where you have very common denominators between the two teams. And a common denominator to an extent. Because playing at home and playing on the road are two different things. But let's just look at it. So Oregon beat Iowa with a score of 18-16. USC beat them with a score of 26-21. That's a big difference for the fact of Oregon couldn't score against Iowa the way USC could. USC scored 8 more points on Iowa than Oregon did. But Oregon only gave up 16 points, where USC gave up 21. A 5-point differential there. So you want to look at what's the biggest difference. Let's look at yards. Who outgained who? So when looking at it, Oregon gained 112 yards through the air and 261 yards on the ground, while also throwing for 1 interception. Here, USC against Iowa gained 254 yards through the air, 106 yards on the ground. So when you do the math, I'm not going to give an actual number, but when you do that, 261 plus 112 is higher than 254 plus 106. So Oregon actually outgained USC in their games against Iowa. So USC gained less yards against Iowa than Oregon did. But USC put the ball in the end zone. For instance, they had 1 touchdown through the air and two touchdowns on the ground for 3 touchdowns total. Oregon only had 1 touchdown on the ground, 0 through the air. They also had 1 fumble. They also recovered 2 fumbles defensively, but we're talking about touchdowns, right? They had 1 touchdown. Then they had 3 field goals and an extra point and a safety. So when you look at that, USC's offense ran more efficiently. They scored more. They put the ball in the end zone. Now let's look at Iowa versus Oregon. Let's see what they did. They scored 1 touchdown in the air, 1 touchdown on the ground. Now let's look at against USC. They scored 2 touchdowns through the air, 1 touchdown on the ground. One of those touchdowns, I think, came in garbage time by their backup quarterback. So when you look at all those stats and you look at everything that's going on there, there's not a cause and effect here saying that because USC scored more points against Iowa, they're going to beat Oregon. And because Oregon gave up less points to Iowa, they're going to win. There's no cause and effect. There's just a correlation of you can look at the two and make a judgment off of it. So we can look at those stats and make a judgment off it. But let's also look at what's happened this season. USC's both of their losses have come on the road at Illinois and at Notre Dame. So when you look at that, they're going on the road to Autzen to play Oregon. So you got to look at that factor. You got to look at where their losses are at, where their games are at. Oregon, their only loss of the season came at home to Indiana. So while Indiana's really good, they're the number 2 team in the country right now. Oregon's also got a really good home stadium and home environment in Autzen, but Indiana showed people can win there. It's not easy, but they can win there. So when you look at all those factors, you look at stats, you look at what happened here, what happened there. Let's just think, who has the better defense? As of right now, Oregon's got the better defense. Oregon's had a solid defense most of the season. Just talked about Indiana. Oregon's got a solid defense. USC, though, their defense has struggled most of the year. They haven't been bad. They haven't been good. They've been They've had good moments. They've had a lot of bad moments. They've been in a lot of shootouts. And the thing is, they've won those shootouts because their offense is phenomenal. Whose offense is really good? USC's. USC's offense, like I just said, has been phenomenal mostly all season. Oregon, they've had their moments. When they've gone against not great defenses, they've done really well. When they've gone against good defenses, like against Iowa or against Indiana, they didn't put up a lot of points. And so the question is, which team's defense will show up and which team's offense will show up? And I think Oregon's defense will show up because they've been consistent all year long, mostly, except for against Indiana, really. And then their offense will show up for the purpose of USC's defense is not at that level. Let's see. Let's look at Oregon's defense. Besides the Indiana game, they haven't given up more than 24 points, besides the Indiana game. In the Indiana game, they lost 30-20. Outside that game, though, their most points they get was 24 to Penn State. Now, Penn State's not good. But that was before Penn State fell off the rails. Penn State's not good at all. They have a talented roster, but they're not good. And so, again, we just look at it. And you look at all these factors, and you look at offense and defense. Oregon's got the better offense. Oregon's got the better defense. Indiana might have the better offense. The offenses are actually more comparable than the defenses. Oregon's defense is head and shoulders, maybe not head and shoulders, but you have Oregon's defense here. You have USC's defense probably about here. The offenses are more about here to here, if not even. So when you look at that, you say who's going to cover and who's going to do this. Well, it's your number. Sorry, I'm trying to think of ranks here. Number 7th ranked team and the college football by the College Football Playoff Committee going against your number 15th ranked team and by the College Football Playoff Committee. But USC is going to Watson, a tough stadium to play in. I think Oregon's going to win, but I think USC is going to cover if the spread is 10.5. If the spread's 10.5, 9.5, or 8.5, I think USC will cover because I think it'll be about a 7-point game. But I think Oregon's probably going to win this game. I just think they have a better defense, a little bit more consistency on defense, and their offense is still really good. While they might be missing some key players, I don't remember what their injury history is right now. And USC's offense has been really good all season long, except for against some good defenses maybe, but they've been really good all season long. You could see an offensive shootout, but I just feel like Oregon's defense is too good right now to where they might give USC some problems offensively. And then I don't know if USC's defense is good enough to stop Oregon's offense enough to help USC win that game. But that's the one what we're going to do for you today. That's Game Talk 24/7. Thank you guys for watching.